What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to scrape local businesses and send them cold outreach emails by creating a simple workflow right here in Anytime. Let's get started. In Anytime, I've created a workflow that I've renamed to local business outreach. Here, we're going to start by adding the first step, which will be a trigger. I'm going to choose a manual trigger here. The next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to scrape local businesses from Google Maps. To do that, I'm going to use this tool called Apify. Apify is an incredible tool that you can use to scrape any website and automate projects. To get 30% off your first subscription to this tool, just click the link in the description and then go ahead and create an account in Apify. And after creating an account in Apify, head over to Apify store. Here, we're going to search for this tool that we'd like to use to scrape local business leads from Google Maps. So here, I'll search for Google Maps scraper. Then I'll click on search. Then here, since we would like to send our leads cold emails, we would like to scrape leads that have their contact information already available. So here, I'm going to use this tool right here, the Google Maps email extractor, to scrape the leads that have their contact information already available. So I'll open this tool on a new tab. And this is a tool that we're going to use to scrape local business leads from Google Maps. So here, all we have to do is add a search term right here, like restaurant. We're also going to add location and the number of leads that we would like to scrape. Here you can also choose a language. You can also perform filters and precise searches over here by adding a place category, setting a minimum star rating, scrape places with or without a website, or get exact name matches over here. You can also choose geolocation parameters right here where you can add the country, city, state, county, and postal code of the place that you'd like to scrape. Here you can also choose to scrape the local business leads using a Google Maps URL instead of a search term. But I'm going to choose to use a search term. So in our case, we're going to use restaurants as our example. So we're going to scrape 10 restaurants in this specific location. So here, to do that, I'll click on start over here. Here you can see our tool is getting our data. Let's give it a second for it to complete scraping restaurants in New York. You can see that our tool succeeded in scraping 10 restaurants for us in our specific location. We're getting the image URL, the place name, total score, review count, their Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter pages if they have any available. You're also scraping their phone number, their emails, you can see right here, the city, the website, and the search page URL over here. This is incredible. Now, instead of having to manually scrape the leads, right here in Apify, we can automatically scrape the leads by creating a workflow right here in Anytime. So to scrape the local business leads in Anytime, here I'll search for Apify, then I'll click on Apify, and here you'll need to install it first if you haven't installed it yet. And then after installing it, here we're going to click on Run an Actor node. Here you'll need to create a credential to connect your Apify account to Anytime by clicking on Create a new credential. Then here click on Connect my account. And then on the new window that pops up, choose the account that you like to connect to Anytime, and your connection will be created. Since I had already done that, I'm going to close this over here. And then here I'm going to choose my connection, which is this connection over here. Here we're going to run an actor, and here I'm going to choose a recent used actor. And here I'm going to find the actor that we just used, which is the Google Maps email extractor tool. We're going to input our JSON. So I'll click on expression right here, next one right here to add our JSON. To get our JSON, go back to our tool right here. And then it says manual in JSON, click on JSON. Then here, I'll copy this JSON. Then I'll paste our JSON right here. Then I'll go back Canvas. And here, now we can execute this step to scrape the restaurants from our specific location right here in Anytime. You can see it's executing our node. Let's give it a second. You can see that our node is executed successfully. And our run was a success. Here, we're getting our dataset ID. This is a dataset ID that we're going to use to get the restaurant that we just scraped. So to do that, I'll click on back to Canvas right here. Then I'll search for Apify again. Then click on Apify. And then here, I'll click on the Get Dataset Items node. Here I'm going to choose my connection. Then I'll map the dataset ID over here. Then I'll click on Execute Step to get our restaurants that we just scraped. Now here you can see we're getting the 10 restaurants that we just scraped using our tool. We're getting the title, the price, category name, the address of the restaurant. We're also getting the location, categories, reviews, open hours, all these relevant information of each restaurant over here. This is incredible. Also getting their search page URL, image URL, their emails, phone numbers, their social media pages, open hours, all this relevant information here. This is incredible, including their website. So our workflow works perfectly for now. So here, I'll rename this to local business scraper. Then I'll click on rename, and then here I'll rename this to get local businesses. And then here I'll click on rename over here. So now one thing that I'll do over here is that when I open this node, you can see we are manually adding our search term over here. We can also automate this part. So to automate this part, we're going to add the search term in a spreadsheet. So instead of having to manually open this node and input the search term, so now in Google Sheets, I've created a spreadsheet that I've renamed to local business data. I've created a sheet that I've renamed to keywords, and here's where we're going to add our keywords. In our case, I'm going to add restaurants as our keyword. Here's where we're going to add our search terms. So now to get this sheet, yeah, I'll delete this connection, and then I'll search for Google Sheets right here. Then here I'll click on the get rows in sheet node. Here you'll also need to create a credential like we did with Apify, and by clicking on sign in with your Google account, and then on the new window that pops up, choose the account that you like to connect to anytime. No connection will be created. Since I had already done that, I'm going to close this over here and search for the document. The document is going to be our local business data, and the sheet is going to be the keywords over here. And then here I'll click on execute step to get our keywords. You can see we're getting our search terms over here. So here you can connect these over here and click on auto align. And then now here when I open this node, now since we have our search terms over here I'll expand these over here to add our search term. Now instead of manually inputting our search term, you can grab the search term from our spreadsheet over here. So now let us try running our workflow again so we can see how it works. So to do that, I'll click on execute to workflow. You can see our workflow was executed successfully, and here we successfully scraped restaurants from Google Maps using our tool in Apify, and we got the 10 restaurants right here using this node over here, using this node. So here I'll rename this to, and then here I'll click on rename. Next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to filter our leads to ensure that the leads have the contact information already available, their website available, and the description available, so we can send them personalized cold emails. So to do that, here I'll search for the if node, then I'll click on the node right here, and then here the first thing that we're going to add is the email. So here I'll search for email and say that the email should exist. The other condition that we're going to add is the description has to exist also, so we can personalize the cold emails. And the last condition that we're going to add is the website has to exist also. Okay, then here I'll click on execute to filter our leads. So you can see we have only 3 leads with the contact information, description, and the website already available. So here I'll click on back to converse, and then if the leads do not meet any of our conditions, we're going to do nothing. So I'll search for the do nothing node over here and click on it. But if the leads have met all of our conditions, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to wait a few seconds before we add them to our spreadsheet. So I'll wait for let's say 3 seconds, but you can wait as long as you want. And then here you can rename this to wait 3 seconds, and then here I'll click on rename, and then here you can execute this node, and now we can proceed to add our leads to our spreadsheet. In Google Sheets, I've also created another sheet that I've renamed to local business data. Here's where we're going to add our local businesses data. We're going to add their website, their name, email, description, and their Google Maps URL over here. So to add the lead to this sheet, here I'll search for Google Sheets again, and click on Google Sheets. Here, I'll click on append row in shape. Here I'll choose my credential. Our document is going to be the local business data, and the sheet this time around is going to be the local business data. And then here we're going to map values to our columns in our spreadsheet with the data that we scraped from Apify. So here we're going to map the description over here. The website, we're going to map it over here. The name, we're going to map it. I'm going to use the title over here. And lastly, I'm going to map the email, search for email. Then I'm going to map the email address right here. Now here, I'll click on execute step to add our local business data to our spreadsheet. Our node was executed successfully. Oh, we forgot to add the Google Maps URL. So here, I'll search for URL. And we can add the search page URL over here. I'll map it. We can clear the leads. You can add them again. So to do that, here I'll click on execute step again. You can see our node was executed successfully. And now when I open our spreadsheet, you can see we added our leads data right here. We added their website, name, email, description, and the Google Maps URL right here using this workflow that we created over here. So now here, I'll rename this node to local business data. And then here I'll click on rename. Now the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to write personalized cold emails to each of our lead. To do that, I'm going to use an AI agent. So here in AI, I'm going to click on AI agent. And then here, I'll click on define below. And then here we're going to add a prompt for our agent. The prompt could be on the lines of, you are an expert cold email copywriter. And here I'll add an option, then click on system message, click on expression, then expand right here to add our system message. The system message could be on the lines of, your task is to write highly personalized, natural sounding cold email for a local business based only on the information provided about the business using the think tool. And here we're adding inputs, data like their business name, website, and description over here. Then we're also outlining the rules that the AI should follow. We're telling the AI, open with a genuine, specific compliment or observation about the website based on the website or the description. We also like to keep the tone warm, human, and professional, avoiding sounding like a template. Do not use filler or vague praise. Be concrete and accurate. Keep the email short, maximum of 5 sentences. And then we're outlining the structure of the call email. The first line is a personalized compliment or opening. Second line is a brief introduction of who I am and what I do. The third sentence is we're explaining simply how what I do could benefit this specific business. And the last sentence is a light call to action. For example, offering a quick chat, free audit, or asking if they're open to an idea. We're also telling the AI, do not invent facts, not in the input. If no information is available, acknowledge briefly and keep the message general but polite. We'll also like the AI to avoid overused phrases like I hope this email finds you well. And we're also telling the AI, do not use any dashes, do not output placeholders such as your email, first name, or business name. We also like to write the email naturally as if you already know the recipient. And lastly, we like the output in a clean JSON format with 2 keys, the subject line and the email body. So here, I'll click on back to canvas, and here I'm going to require a specific output format. Then I'll click on the output parser and click on structured output parser. And here we're going to add the JSON example of our output. Then here, I'll clear this JSON and paste this JSON over here. So here, we'd like to output the subject line and the email body only. So here, I'll click on back to canvas. Here we can drag these at the top. So since we're using a thing, we like to use a think tool. I'll also search for the think tool over here and click on the think tool. I'll click on back to canvas. I'll drag it at the top over here also. We're also going to add a memory, so I'm going to choose a simple memory here. I'm going to choose to define below expression. We can add today's date right here as a key. And then lastly, you're going to add a chat model over here. I'm going to choose to use an OpenAI chat model. Here, you'll also need to create a credential like we did with other nodes by clicking on create new credential. Then from your OpenAI API, add your API key over here. Then click on save to create your credential. Since I had already done that, I'm going to close this over here. And then I'll proceed to choose a model over here. Here you can choose any model, including the latest model, which is GPT-5 over here. Is the latest model that we're using currently. I'm going to just use GPT 4.1 mini since it works. Then I'll drag this node also to the top over here. Now here, I'll open this node and then I'll click on execute step to generate cold email scripts for each of our lead. You can see it's executing our node. Let's give it a second. Here you can see that our node was executed successfully and successfully generated subject lines and email bodies for 3 leads. This is amazing. You can see how personalized the subject line and the email body is. For example, for Sanford, the first line is on the lines of, I love how Sanford masterfully blends New American comfort fare with a modern diner vibe, creating a fresh yet nostalgic dining experience. It's very personalized. This is incredible. So here, I'll click on back to canvas, and then here, I'll rename this to cold email generator. And then I'll click on rename right here. The next thing that we're going to do here is we can wait a few seconds before we send this cold emails. So I'll wait for, let's say, 5 seconds. Yeah, I'll name this not to wait 5 seconds. And then click on rename. And then now we can proceed to send these leads, the cold emails. So I'll send the cold emails using Gmail. So in Gmail, I'm going to click on send a message node right here. Yeah, we're going to first of all execute this node. And then I'll open this node right here. And then here we're going to add their email. Their email will be the email address that we added to our spreadsheet. Subject line will be the subject line that we just generated right here. Email type will be, I'm going to choose text. And the email body will be this body that we generated over here. This is incredible. So now the last thing that we're going to do here is I'm going to click on add option. Then in append anything attribution, I'm going to turn this to off. And then I'll click on execute step right here to execute our node. And now we send our 3 leads, the cold emails that we generated using our AI agent. Now the last thing that we're going to do here is we're going to do nothing after our workflow is done. So I'll click on the do nothing node right here. You can execute it also. So here I'll rename this to send cold emails. Then I'll click on rename over here. So our workflow works perfectly. So one thing I wanted to mention is instead of using Google Sheets, you can use other tools or databases like Airtable, ClickUp, or tools like Monday. And also to send the cold emails, you don't have to send the cold emails using Gmail. You can also send the cold emails using third-party tools like SmartLead, Instantly, or Lemlist. So now what you will do in that case, search for the tool. For example, you can search for Lemlist as a tool. And then in your account, in your Lemlist account, you'll have created a campaign to add the leads. So now all you have to do over here is just create a lead and then add the lead to the campaign you'll have created in Lemlist. And then now in Lemlist, all you have to do is just activate the campaign to start sending the outreach messages to the leads. But I think this method is more favorable right here, where we are adding keywords to a spreadsheet over here, and then using the keyword to scrape local businesses from Google Maps. And then here we're getting the local businesses, and then we are filtering the leads based on the conditions, if their website is available, if they have their contact information available, and if they have a description already available, to personalize the call outreach messages that we're going to send our leads. Then we're waiting a few seconds and adding the leads that are qualified to our spreadsheet, which is a spreadsheet right here where we're adding their website, name, email, description, and their Google Maps URL. And then using the information that we added right here, which is a description and their website, we are generating personalized cold emails for these leads. Then we're waiting a few seconds and sending the leads the cold emails using this node right here. Our workflow works perfectly. Let's try testing it and see how it works. Now to test our workflow to see how it works, here we'll need to update a keyword. In that case, we're going to use restaurants as our keyword, or you can use other keywords like pet services, accounting, lawyers, etc. as our keywords right here. I'm going to just choose restaurants as our keyword. I'll go back to our workflow, and here I'll click on execute workflow. Here, you can see that our workflow was executed successfully. We captured our keyword, which was restaurants. Then using this node, we scraped local businesses. Then using the keyword, we scraped local businesses from Google Maps. Then we got our leads using over here using this node, got a total of 10 leads over here. Then here, only 3 leads met our condition, which was they have to have their website, description, and their contact information already available. And then we waited a few seconds to add the 3 qualified leads to our spreadsheet. Then we proceeded to generate 3 personalized call emails for each of our lead over here. So we generated these personalized subject lines and email bodies for each of our lead. Then we waited a few seconds to send the call emails to our 3 leads over here. Then we ended our workflow over here. You can see we're adding our local business data over here. So we're adding the website name, email, description, and their Google Maps URL using this workflow that we created right here in Anygen. So our workflow works perfectly. So we are finding local businesses using this keyword that we added to our spreadsheet. We are getting the local businesses, and then using their contact information, description, and their website, we are generating personalized cold emails and then sending our leads their cold emails in Gmail using the simple workflow that we created right here in Anygen. So our workflow works perfectly. Now, if you'd like me to create this workflow for you or a workflow similar to this one, just click the first link in the description to schedule a call with me. On the call, we're going to discuss into details the workflow that you'd like me to create for you. Then I'll proceed to create the workflow for you. But if you enjoyed this video and you have a workflow or an AI agent that you'd like me to create using Anygen, just comment down below in the comment section. I read all the comments, and if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to create the entire workflow or AI agent from scratch using Anygen. But for now, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.